what's up? Roger here, and welcome to the Vaping. Alright, so this week I'm going to try to keep the vlog at a reasonable length. We'll try to keep it under 40 minutes. Keeping it kind of short, so I do have just one liquid and one piece of hardware to review. And then we'll talk about a couple of things that are being discussed in our Facebook group. And that should be just about it. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. Personally, vaping today, Alien 220 TFV8 with the black glass in it, because I love burning like oils. Apparently, you can't see. I don't even care. You can put a ridiculous. I have a 1300 lumen flashlight I can put up against this, and just barely see the chimney. Still can't tell how much liquid's in it. But I just like it, so yeah, I just refill it frequently. Tough Cookie in the Beast at 160. Good vape. Alright, so what are we going to talk about in the new liquid department? Let's take a look. Today, our new liquid is from Philip Rock, and this one is called Enter the Dragon Iced. It is the newest from the Philip Rock camp. I am a huge fan of Enter the Dragon. It's the little 15 ml bottles from Gemini Vapor. Big fan, love it. Good stuff. Unfortunately, small bottle goes fairly quick, so but it's one of those things. I'll get a couple 15s, I'll throw them in like a unicorn bottle, and amazing stuff. Love it. The original Enter the Dragon is described as a strawberry and peach. So if you've ever had like peachy strawberry from Jimmy the Juice Man, not even remotely the same, right? Enter the Dragon is primarily strawberry with a little bit of peach, where peachy strawberry is actually primarily peach with a little bit of strawberry. So I am a big fan of Enter the Dragon, always have been. So I was pretty excited when I heard about this one, Enter the Dragon Iced. I am not a menthol fan. You guys know I don't do menthols, I don't do cinnamons, I don't do like intense shit. So this one is a little out of the box for me. But it is described as a sweet peach and strawberry with a kick of icy menthol. Available here at the shop with 0, 3, and 6, 30 ml in size, and the price range is $22. So pretty typical of a premium e-liquid. Let's go ahead and drip it in the Twisted Messes 24. I've got 10 wraps of 22 on the Twisted Messes 24, and I'm currently vaping it at 160 watts because that is my typical. So let's have a stab at this liquid and see what we think. I'm not a menthol vapor, so it's always going to take me off guard. That's just that's just how it goes. But am I getting the Enter the Dragon? Yes, I am. And the menthol is clearly there. I mean, if you're a menthol fan, you're going to like this. It's still menthol in my mouth. Still menthol. Very opening. Very open. All of a sudden I can breathe so well. Absolutely. So if you're looking for something that's not just pure menthol, maybe something that's like a little mix, definitely one to try. It's definitely got the strawberry with a slight peach to it. I wouldn't say it was intensely peach. I actually wouldn't say it was intensely strawberry. It's just kind of a good balance, and then it does have that menthol kick. Whew. And the bad thing is, the more of these menthols and shit I try, the more I start to think I kind of like them. Wow, menthol. So yes, Enter the Dragon Iced. If you're a menthol fan, definitely one I think you should check out. Definitely. All right, so what do we have next? All right, so hardware. We got an RDA in last week, and obviously I looked at it and I thought, yeah, it's a little gimmicky, but my wife is a big fan of the tugboat. She's always been a tugboat fan. As a matter of fact, at any point you will probably find a tugboat on a mod that she has with her. They came out with a newer tugboat. She still likes the tugboat V2, and that's what she's sticking with. Like, we got her a V3 and she still just uses V2. So when I saw this RDA in a very similar airflow to the tugboat, I decided maybe we'd give it a stab. So what do we have? Well, we have the We Out There Dough. Alright, so the name, I'm not really sure about. Dual airflow on both sides. It's fixed airflow, folks. It is what it is, and that's all it'll ever be. Let me see. I'll show you. I've got 24 gauge stainless steel, 8 wraps dual, and you can see the ratio of coil to cotton there. My favorite. Like to have a pretty close ratio, like 1/3 coil and 2/3 cotton in the deck. I don't like to have just a little bit of cotton with a giant coil. I don't like to have like a huge coil and a giant, a little teeny coil and a giant amount of cotton. Just break it into thirds, right? 1/3 coil, 2/3 cotton. Seems to work out really good for me. Now this particular RDA, the We Out There Dough, does not have a removable tip. This is like a Delrin tip. It's actually built into the top cap. This is all one piece. The deck is a 2-poster, but it only has 2 holes. So getting coils in this, if you have the patience of a squirrel, is going to be very irritating. But if you just take your time, pre-clip your leads, put them in, tighten them down, meh, it's not an issue. So let's have a go at the We Out There Dough. And right now I got it at 65 watts. 65 watts on the VT75. And let's have it pull here and see what we think. Okay, first and foremost, I gotta tell you, the flavor is actually really good on this thing. I'd love to hate on this thing just because of the name, but I had a feeling when I saw that airflow, I thought it was going to be a pretty good flavor addy, and no lie, it is actually pretty damn good. Now the air obviously a little tighter than I'm used to, but at the reduced wattage, like 65, 70 watts, seems to be really, really good. Absolutely. You could probably push the wattage up a little bit. Let me see, because I'm not really getting the heat that I want. I kind of like a lot of heat, and I'm not really getting a lot of heat. So let's try it at 70 and see what we get. A little more heat, absolutely. This model only goes to 75, so we're just going to take it on up. Alright, so here's the full 75 watt. It is a 0.27, like I said, stainless steel 24 gauge 8 wrap dual. A little more heat at 75. Let me see here, let me drip it again. Give it another little drip. Yes, I am. Anybody guess what I'm dripping in it? I won't even tell you. Try it again. 75, freshly dripped. The flavor is good. The airflow is tight. If you're a guy that likes like super tight airflow, or this might be a little airy for you. If you like super airy RDAs, this is probably going to be a little tight for you. So this is, it's just good, right? It seems to be like 65 to 70. I would say it's probably really good at that wattage. I would think you would buy something like this for like the matchy, you know, factor of it. It is a 24 millimeter deck, I believe. Like I said, 2 posts with only 2 holes, so it can be a little frustrating for you if you're new or you just have no patience. So that's something to keep in mind. Fairly large bore on the chuff that cannot be removed. So definitely something to keep in mind if your guy likes to change your chuff, or you think that's too short or too big around. It's not an option for you to change. So definitely something to keep in mind. But at the end of the day, the flavor is good, and that's all I really give a shit about. Fairly nice. That's going to stay right here on this because I think it looks good. Actually really good. Okay, so there you go, guys. The We Out There Dough RDA 2 poster, 1 set of holes. So low patience, not recommended. It's a fairly small RDA. It's kind of short, good for a little small. If you put this on a giant box mod, it's probably gonna look a little weird. But I like it. I don't know. I just like it. If you haven't figured it out by now, no, I'm not going to review anything I don't like. So I'm not going to get on here and go, oh, this is a giant piece of shit. Because if it's a giant piece of shit, it's never going to make it here. I'm never going to talk about it. I'm never going to put it on my shelf. I'm never going to sell it. It's just how I am. If I don't believe in a product, I don't like the product, it's not going to be here. I don't buy things and sell things for their margin. You can say, like, some shops will buy shit and sell it just because it makes them money. That's just not me. I'm kind of a hardware guy. I kind of want to have cool things, and if it's not cool, I don't want it. I just don't want it. I'm not going to review it. I'm not going to sell it. So bear that in mind as you watch my videos, and if you ever get the question of, oh yeah, he likes everything. He likes everything. Yes, this is true. He likes everything. Well, he likes everything he reviews because that's why he's reviewing it. He likes it. So there you go. Now, is there a possibility at some time that the We Out There Dough could have a replacement tip? Well, I imagine because this is just like a piece of black plastic. It may be Delrin, I'm not sure. But as you can see, it will slide off. You can't like pull it off. Like, I'm going to end up pulling the top cap off. But if you twist it, you can get it to come right off. So will that be an issue down the road? I just don't feel like it will be. It may be, now that I've started messing with it. It may be, but no. I'm just pulling the top cap off. But if you do give it a little twist, you can get the black plastic off of the tip. Thus far, I've not had any issues with it coming off on me in operations or in... I don't put my mod in my pocket, so I don't know. I'm just not a pocket kind of guy. Either my mod is on the table or in my hand. That's just the way it is. Cup holder, but hardly ever will you see me with a mod in my pocket. Cool. Definitely good flavor. Nice little RDA. If you need some matchy, it comes in a few different colors. It comes in silver, black, red, obviously, and blue, I believe. So we have all those colors. So if you're looking for a nice little matchy, there you go. Awesome. Is it raining? It's raining again. It's raining again. I think it was raining last video, wasn't it? All right, so now let's talk just briefly. Like I said, we'll try to keep this on a reasonable time limit. We pushed it a little long last couple times, so we're just going to did the one juice, we do the one piece of hardware. Maybe next week we'll get into a little more in depth and do a couple more. So next week we'll retouch on the We Out There dough after I use it for yet another week, and we'll just kind of make sure that it's everything we expected it to be, or more than we expected, to be honest with you. And then I'll actually, probably sometime this week, I'm going to start using the IPv6X. I started using one, and then we kind of got new mods in, and I jumped off and wasn't using it, but I think I need to give it some time. So you're going to see kind of a review, not really a review, I don't do reviews, I just do what I think about it, of the IPv6X and the IPv400. What the hell, because basically they're the same thing, they just look different. So definitely we're going to take a look at that, and more than likely we'll have yet another RDA to look at. But right now, let's talk about what's been going on in the group. So earlier this week, I did a post about Mooch's review of the MXJO yellow silver 35 amp 3000 mAh battery, and I just kind of made it clear, you know, people, you the consumer, you have to stop buying these bullshit batteries. You really do, because the people that are selling them to you apparently don't give a shit, and they're just going to sell them to you. But Mooch did a test on him. His bottom line, dangerously overrated 20 amp battery, right? So it's not a 35 amp battery. That's total BS. And I get people to come in my shop all the time with these batteries, thinking that they are 35 amp batteries, believing that they are 35 amp batteries, and we all know that they are not. I will put a link in the description to Mooch's review of the MXJO yellow silver 35 amp 3000 mAh, so you can see that for yourself. Don't take my word for it, look at the facts. This man tests battery systems for a living, and he's been nice enough to start doing that on 18650s, which I think is awesome. We really needed someone that will police these battery companies and make them, you know, put realistic numbers on their batteries. Now, me, you know, I'm a big stickler for selling only the batteries that manufacturers make. So you're going to see LGs and Sonys and Samsungs, and that's it. No rewraps whatsoever. I don't believe in them. I don't think they're cool. I go by now obviously we're going by the continuous rating, and if you do your homework, you can discover some of the pulse ratings, but as an industry standard, we just go by the continuous amperage rating of a battery, and that's the best thing to do. So, like I said, I will put a link in the description to that particular test of that battery, but the MXJO yellow silver is not living up to what its label says, and that was something I posted in the group. And more than a few people liked that. No one decided to comment on it, which either it's, you know, some people are big believers in MXJO. Some people are believers in MRIN, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I posted a picture of a pair of MRINs that a customer brought in. Exactly the same wraps, exactly the same rating, completely two different batteries. Like, they're not even remotely the same battery. You can tell by the positives. One has 3 posts on the positive, the other one has 4. They are wrapped as the same battery though. So I think more and more, if we get the word out that these companies are lying to you, that eventually everyone will catch on and stop buying them. At least that is my hope. All right, so the other question we got was from Matthew Kirby. He was getting ready to go on a trip, and he wanted to know what he needs to do to take his vape gear with him. And obviously, you know, it's just a common sense shit. Really, it isn't. Like, what the TSA requires is not overly, overly demanding. It's not excessive, in my opinion. So if you have, you cannot have any individual bottles bigger than 100 milliliters. So if you buy a 120, you're going to have a problem, right? You shouldn't. Now, you may get through with a 120 but the reality of it is you should not take more than 100 ml bottles at a time. So that's something to keep in mind. So it's 100 mils in no individual container. That means you can have as many 30s as you can fit in a 1-quart bag, but you cannot have any bottles bigger than 100 mil. So you can take multiple 100 mil bottles, you can take multiple 30 mil bottles, but no individual bottle can be bigger than 100 mils, which I don't think is you know, a crazy rule. I think that's fine. I don't know that they specify this, but definitely have your tanks empty, have the batteries removed from your mods. I know a friend of mine went on a plane and he had actually had a DNA 200 that I built, and I hardwired these 1850s in the mods, and TSA wanted to try to remove the battery from his mod, and he had to let him, hey, don't do that, it's hardwired. And then of course after that they were like, okay, we need to remove the battery, and guess what, that's not an option, and you need to shut it off, and obviously that's not an option. DNA 200s don't have an off, they just go to sleep. So that was a bit of a hiccup for him apparently, but they still let it go. They let him take it. It wasn't that big of a deal. But I think their preference there was that the battery would have been out. So you'll want to have your batteries out of your mod if you can, and put them in a plastic case for the love of God. Don't just have them rolling around in your bag. And then make sure your tanks are empty, because not even the fact that you know, it's not good to have your tank full of liquid while you're traveling, but it'll also leak like hell. When you get the cabin pressure, you get up at whatever 30,000 feet, it's going to push all the liquid out of the tank all over your underwear. Okay, and that's going to be a problem. So definitely make sure your tanks are empty, make sure there's no batteries in your mods, make sure your mods are all off. If possible, no more than 100 ml bottle at a time. They need to be in the big 1-quart zipper Ziploc bag. That is what I am aware of at this point, and it seemed to have worked for at least 2 people that I know that have traveled, and seemed to have worked out for them. So awesome there. Well guys, I think that wraps it up for this week. Keep it under 25 minutes. Awesome. This is what we need to do. Maybe the 45-minute ones are a little long, understandably. So that's it, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next week with another whatever the hell this is.